Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond the Lens Productions. Coming at you today with some new and exciting content. We're going to do an automotive news segment today. We're going to talk about some of the issues going on at Stellantis, layoffs, recalls, flawed decisions. We'll talk about some GM news on things going on over there and what direction I think they're going with some of it. And yeah, some of my own 2 cents worth here. So stay tuned and I will be right back. So I'm doing something a little bit different today. I am going to do an automotive news segment and tell you about some of the things going on in the automotive industry today. Please let me know in the comments below if you like this kind of content, and if so, I will continue to do it. I'm also looking for some suggestions on what you would like to see me call this segment. So, yeah, I look forward to hearing your ideas on that. So, we will start today with Stellantis. Stellantis has recently recalled some more vehicles again. This time it is going to be a 2020 to 24 Jeep Wranglers and 2022 to 24 Jeep Grand Cherokees. These are all the PHEVs, otherwise known as a plug-in hybrid vehicle. And they have recalled over 154,000 vehicles in this recall. And they are suggesting for it that you should park your vehicle, you should not charge it, and when you do park it away from any structures such as a garage or what have you, because there is a fire risk. And they've actually had 13 incidences of this fire already happen. They're stating that about 5% of the vehicles affected have the faulty part in there that can cause these fires. They are currently working on a resolution for this. So as soon as they do, the dealerships and Stellantis will be contacting owners to let them know when they can have this repaired. Kind of goes again. There's been a lot of chatter online about Stellantis and using some cheaper, inferior parts in their vehicles. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Not really sure, but that seems to be the chatter going on. And other news of Stellantis, more cutbacks. Most of these cutbacks have to do with an increasing dealer inventory. Most car companies run in the 40 to 50-day range, meaning that the dealership, if you stop all production today, that they would have enough vehicles to supply their customers for about 40 to 50 days. Stellantis, although they're not saying exactly what the number is, but they are way beyond this right now, I guess. The Jefferson North Assembly Plant in Detroit for this week has a full layoff. They are not producing anything at the plant this week. Workers there have been told that they will likely be called back to work the week of October 7th. And though there is a bit of a caveat with that, saying that they could possibly add another week if dealer inventories don't go down enough. In addition to the 312 temporary seasonal workers and 105 full-time workers that have been laid off recently, they are also having cutbacks at the plant producing their Dodge Ram. Uh, why is this happening? Stellantis seems to be in the news just about every other day, if not every day, with some kind of bad news for the workers. Um, I'm going to say, let's address the Ram. The Ram is a nice looking truck. I like the design of it. And I think they've made a really bad mistake here, and they are only producing these trucks in the upper level as a V6. Now, the V6 does put out a lot of power, I will say, and but right now you have Ford and you have Chevrolet, both producing the V8 trucks still. General Motors has actually earlier this year announced that they are coming out with a whole new family of V8 engines, both the 5.3 and the 6.2 liter engines for their full size trucks, SUVs, Silverados, Sierras, Suburbans, Tahoes, and Yukons. And Ford has announced that they will be producing V8 engines until if and when they're ever not allowed to produce them again. This also includes their Ford Mustang. And that kind of goes into the Dodge Charger debacle that's going on there as well. Comes at a very interesting time right now. UAW is in talks for contract negotiations with Stellantis. And there's a lot of unrest among employees there, and I can't say as though I blame them because these ultimately it's the workers that are going to suffer the most, especially the hourly line workers there. They're at the mercy of the company and the decisions they make, as they are with any other company. And yeah, Stellantis seems to be making a move lately to move production out of the United States into Canada and into Mexico as well. And there's a fear of one of their plants in Michigan, and because there's been a lot of talk about this and moving the whole production into Windsor, Ontario. So we'll see what happens with that. Carlos Tavares, who runs Stellantis, there has been a lot of talk and a lot of call lately for him to be dethroned, we'll say, and replaced with somebody else. Unfortunately, this is kind of one of the dangers when a foreign company takes over your domestic corporation, because it's becoming more clear to me anyhow, and I think some others that I've seen as well, that they allegiance is not to the United States, it's to the mother country and any country that can produce the vehicle at a lesser price. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm kind of interested to see what happens here with this, because there's a lot of workers' futures and livelihoods that are on the line with this. So anyhow, over into GM, they just announced last week, I believe it was, that there is just over 100 brand new Camaros still in inventory. So that's not much. At the time of this recording, I mean, they may even be pretty much wiped out already. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't really heard anything there. So once the Camaro is gone, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Camaro. Are they going to bring it back as another vehicle? Maybe, I know there's been chatter about everything from an electric vehicle to an electric SUV, which I hope they don't do. Please don't make this another Ford Mustang SUV. That thing, I'm sorry, but that vehicle is an embarrassment to the Ford Mustang nameplate. So please don't do that. For JM, if you're listening to this, just don't do that. I mean, I don't know at this point if they're going to. There's been a lot of changes in the market out there, and specifically with the Chevron deference decision that was struck down by the Supreme Court, which is going to have, although for a lot of industries, it's going to have implications, but it's going to have huge implications for the EPA and the CAFE standards. So we'll see. I mean, Stellantis did make a smart move there. They originally were just going to have the Charger as an EV only, and they have moved since changed that. And since I'm going to be bringing out a gasoline powered engine, and if you want to hear a little more about that, I guess you think over here. We'll place a card in the corner here, and if you want to hear more about the public's reaction to the gas versus electric charger, that video tells you all about it. But I'll just tell you that 82% of consumers are waiting for the gasoline powered version of the Charger over the EV. GM, listen to that. Let's not make any of these same mistakes here. Although I'm glad that they are bringing out the gasoline powered version. It shows you that people, they still want the internal combustion engine in their cars. They don't want another soulless EV. We'll see. Brought up the idea of the possible return of Pontiac, and where I think GM is going with this. And one of the things was that they could make Pontiac a car only division, small niche brand, if you will, with maybe 2 or 3 vehicles, one in the smaller segment, one in the midsize, and then maybe in the sports car segment. The more and more I'm seeing with this, the more and more I'm thinking that this is a possibility. Why do I think this? Well, they've gotten rid of the Camaro. So now they're leaving this muscle car segment for Chrysler, or Dodge rather, and Ford. So we got the Charger and the Mustang. GM does not have a vehicle in that segment. Some may argue that they have the Corvette, although this is true. The Corvette is not a typical good mainstream vehicle. I'm sorry, it is. It's a great car. Don't get me wrong. However, it's not for the mainstream. I mean, the Camaro, and you get a base model Camaro. I mean, it's a very affordable car, and you are now seeing the Malibu nearing the end of its life cycle. As you'll see in another video I did, I'll leave a card up there in the corner. And I did a full review of the Malibu and what I thought of it. I was actually quite surprised with it. I've never really paid much attention to the Malibu, although it's a decent looking car. What you're paying for it and what you're getting, I really think it is a great value for your money. GM gets rid of it. Now you are leaving that whole segment open to Toyota, to the Camry. It doesn't make much sense to me. You never know. Although they did the same thing with the Chevy Cruze in North America, that is. I mean, there are other countries such as Brazil and that where you can still get the Cruze, but it left the whole market open to Honda and the Civic. I mean, I remember looking at the website before GM discontinued the Cruze, and I'm like, you know what? Hey, GM is finally getting it. They are finally targeting the Civic, which they haven't done in years. I mean, years ago, people will remember back in the 80s and into even the early 90s, the Cavalier was the number one selling vehicle in North America, in Canada and United States both. And GM, they just let it lapse. Honda get ahead of them, and now the Honda Civic has been the number one selling car in both segments for years now. So anyhow, back to the Cruze. I was looking at the website now. The Civic is targeted toward younger buyers, and if you go on the Civic or the Honda website and look at the Civic, I mean, there's all hosts of different products you can get from the factory, from lowering kits, exhaust, ground effects, you know, the fancy lights you see underneath the vehicles, rims, everything. That Honda obviously looked at what the Honda Civic buyers were doing to their vehicles, and they decided to offer this to factory option so people can get it right from the factory. And away they go, and no need to even modify anything. It's still covered under warranty because it's factory or dealer installed. So GM let that one lapse. Never understood that. I think when before they discontinued the Cruze, specifically with the hatchback version they came out with, that was the nicest looking Cruze they had come out with. Actually, it was probably the nicest looking car in that segment GM had put out in years. And then they get rid of it. GM, sometimes I don't understand what you're doing, but what have you. That's whatever it is here. Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe GM, the Pontiac does return. Maybe they'll bring back the Firebird in that segment, bring back a smaller car to compete with a Civic, for instance, and then maybe they'll come out with a mid-sized vehicle that competes with a Camry, kind of in the size range that the Pontiac G8 and Grand Prix was of years gone by. Another interesting news in the automotive industry, U.S. government recently put a whole host of restrictions on vehicles, hardware and software coming out of China. Now, two that come to mind here, the Buick Envision and the Lincoln Nautilus that Ford produces, because they are both manufactured in China. Now, if they're to continue to sell these vehicles in North America, then they're going to have a lot of duties and fees and taxes and whatever, however they put it, added to this vehicle. So it's interesting to see what they do. Are they going to continue to import these from China into the US or Canada? Or are they going to move the production here? Or they just drop the vehicle altogether and not send them to North America? I don't know. It's hard to say. Like with the Buick, truthfully speaking, the Buick brand isn't really that huge in North America anymore. They've kind of let that one lapse. It's just kind of a host of SUVs that all kind of look the same. So I don't know. Sometimes I wonder why they still sell the brand here. But anyhow, I digress. It'd be also interesting to see if some of these tariffs and that they have tacked on are going to continue to reach other areas in the market as well. Because Canada, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, Canada just put some big tariffs on the batteries coming in from China for the EVs. It's probably because the Canadian government, as has the U.S. government, has put a lot of money recently into plants here to produce the batteries here, so it kind of makes sense of why they want to promote that. Now to go on to Malibu, GM also just announced they're going to have some huge layoffs at the Fairfax, Kansas City plant where they produce the Malibu as they wind that car down, and I guess they're looking to retool that plant for the Chevy Bolt EV. So we'll see. So anyhow, that's just kind of some of the news that I've come across in the automotive world for this week. If you like this kind of content, please be sure to let me know, because I can continue to do these. And yeah, we can do a weekly segment where I just kind of keep everybody up to speed on what's going on in the automotive world. So anyhow, do the algorithm things for me. If you like what I do, subscribe to the channel, and please leave a like below right there for me. Let me know that you enjoyed the video. Please comment. I always love reading your comments and seeing what people think, and I've even learned a lot from some of you guys that have left me some very detailed, interesting comments on whichever topic it is that I am talking about. And until next time, have yourselves a great day.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for
for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.